Hello, welcome to the Unpacked Traveler podcast, where we unpack the wonders and challenges of long term travel so you can feel empowered to embrace this lifestyle in your most confident way. Oh my God, I'm so excited to be recording this right now. I can't even believe that I'm recording a podcast. I think it's been in my mind for ages now. I just needed the courage to do it because honestly, that's all you need. And also consistency, which I struggle with. So I'm glad to be here, to be, to make this happen, to put this into life. And why am I fucking doing that, right? I think you guys need to know the reason behind me creating the podcast. I'm a traveler. I've been a traveler for how long now? Without knowing, maybe 3 years now, I've been a nomad, and people think it's a dream. People think it's amazing. People think it's, oh my God, you're living a fairy tale. You living the best life. And I mean, it's really nice. I'm not gonna lie. But also there are challenges, and there are a lot of challenges, honestly. That's why this podcast exists. I want to share with people why traveling is amazing, but also why it's so challenging and so hard, especially for those who are living abroad, for people who are doing long-term travel, for nomads, how fucking hard it is to be far from family, far from our own culture, far from our loved ones, to be alone most of the time. It's amazing. I'm getting the chills, honestly, to be talking about this because it's amazing. It's my life. It's my dream. I'm living my dream right now, being a nomad. But people don't understand how much effort it takes and how many skills it takes, how much we go through, and honestly, how much is worth it. In the end, also, that's why I'm here with this podcast, to show not only the challenges, but also why you should do it, because it's fucking amazing and we grow so much from it. Every time we unpack our bags from a trip, we unpacked a new version of ourselves. I think we go back with so much learning, so many new experiences, so many new people that we know. I don't know. It's just an amazing feeling to be traveling, to be away, and to be doing what I do. And that's why I want to do this podcast, because I want more people to be doing this, especially girls, especially women. I think it's so hard to be solo traveling as a woman in the world that we know, but it's also not impossible. If we're careful enough and if we hold our faith, things go well, and things should go well. That's, I think, the ultimate goal is for us to be fucking capable to travel by ourselves, and for the world to let ourselves do that. So anyway, I'm getting into so many topics right now that I want to be talking in the future episodes. But this is the first one. I just want to introduce myself. I just want to tell you the motivations behind this podcast and to get you excited, as much excited as I am, to listen to this and to share your stories with me. So please, if you are enjoying this already, follow me on Instagram, share your travel stories with me. I really want us to build a community for travelers, for us to talk about it and support each other in the challenges that we face day to day in this lifestyle, but also inspire you guys who are not traveling yet, but you want to. I'm also here for that, and this community that I want to build is also here for that. So yeah, let me introduce myself to you guys. My name is Mari. I've been traveling for 3 years now. I've lived in the States. I've lived in Italy. I've lived in Germany. I'm originally from Brazil. My dream has always been to travel and to live abroad ever since I remember myself to have dreams. They were to be a teacher, and I was for a while an English teacher, but also and especially to travel the world. I remember when I was a teenager and I liked One Direction and I kept like looking at their pictures in London and like dreaming about London and being there. Like I just remember this feeling and this talk that I had with a cousin of mine of me just wanting to lick the floors of London and smell the grass air. I don't even know what I was talking about. I've never been to London still. It's one of the destinations that I do want to go. Now I know a bit more of the reality of London, not the dreamy, teenagey version of it. But anyway, I've always loved traveling. I've always loved traveling with my family through Brazil, especially to the beaches. I think always when we traveled together, we had so many nice talks in the car. We listened to so many nice music. I don't know. It was just in a very, very special place, travel. So yeah, and it took a while for me to start traveling by myself. My family was humble. They were like, we had everything, but they didn't have extra money to pay for trips or very expensive trips. I felt like my mom and my family, they raised me to be independent and to be goal oriented as well. And also I needed to do that from like my family past circumstances also. So I just started working. Honestly, I had the goal and the dream in my mind, and I started working when I was 15 or 16 years old. I started working for my aunt's law firm. And yeah, I just remembered that I used to earn like 500 reais in Brazil, which is like $100, honestly, and monthly. And I kept half of it for my travels. So like ever since I was 15, I was saving money to live abroad and to travel abroad. I honestly, I'm so, so happy that I did and so proud of my teenage self to be thinking so far ahead, because honestly, that's why I'm here now. And then as a teenager, we know that teenagers have a lot of stuff in mind, but their future. So of course there is a part of my life that it's actually just a blurry blackout. I don't know. I don't know what I was doing. I was just doing stuff, crazy stuff, I would say. But always I remember that I was learning English and I was teaching English and I was always saving money. I knew that I was going to use this money for my travels one day. They were just in the back of my mind in a little box that I kept, for the right moment. And I did my college, and yeah, and then during the quarantine, I finished my college. I majored in Portuguese and English. I'm a teacher by major. And I just remembered the feeling of, okay, I'm done with the stuff that I have to do. Now what? Like, what's the next step now for me? And there was only one big answer in my mind, which is like, you go travel now. You have your money saved. You can sell your motorcycle. By then I had a motorcycle. You can just sell your motorcycle. You can get your savings and go live abroad. And I decided to be an au pair. And I really want to do an episode only about being an au pair in Texas, which I was, where I was. I think it's worth like a couple episodes, like I have so many good stories from back then. And I think so many people, so many women want to go to United States to do that, to learn English and just to feel the American culture. So I think it would be really nice to talk to these women. A lot of people could relate to what I lived there. But anyway, very interesting experience, I would say. Went through a lot, learned a lot, and especially about myself. My 2 years in the States as an au pair taught me so much about myself. It's incredible. It's incredible. Honestly, it's crazy how much I went through. Of course, during that time and a little before that, I was doing therapy, and which was very important part of my process of knowing myself and discovering who I was besides what my family and my culture and my past boyfriends expected of me. So yeah, it was in the States that I've done my first couple of solo travels. My first solo travel, it was to New York. A whole other episode on that because, oh my God, so much I lived there. And a big learning. And I wouldn't say even learning. I would say like a goal that I had for my life after my au pair experience was that I wouldn't allow to be kept under everybody else's calendars, my boss's calendars. Because as an au pair, you have free days, of course, but they're chosen by the family. It's really hard. They're chosen by you. And to be kept from my freedom of choosing my own holidays, my own days off, it was really, really, really hard for me. So I knew that I had in my mind that I wanted to work with a company or by myself, or just in a way that I could allow myself to have the free days that I wanted and that I needed for myself without having to ask for whether permission or like a sick day off. Anyway, and that is a big part why I became a nomad as well. I think besides from all the traveling that I love, having the freedom of my own time, of my own calendar, of my own geographic destination or location, I think it's one of my top priorities in life. So yeah, there's a lot that I want to talk in the podcast about being a traveler, being a nomad, how it feels, why, and how to do it if you ever want to do it. And I guess you should, honestly. We're going to talk a lot about that. I think this episode is for you to understand a bit of why I'm doing it and what I've lived and what I want to share with you guys. My intention with this podcast is to not only share my experience, but also for you to gain something from it, like I want to inspire, I want to show the challenges so you can go travel empowered, so you can go travel knowing what can go wrong. And even if it does go wrong, that we're capable enough for handling the shit, like that we're strong enough and confident enough that just in case something goes wrong, we can do it, like it's worth it even so. In this podcast, I really want to also talk about the effort that we have to put being a non-native English speaker. So yeah, as I said, I'm from Brazil, and I think a lot of travelers can relate to that. We kind of have to learn English to go around and about in our travels. I think it's fortunately and unfortunately the most international language out there. I know Spanish is almost there too, but like how we make mistakes and how sometimes we cannot express ourselves and how we have kind of like two personalities, one in our native language and the other one in English, or more if you do speak other languages, and how crazy is that, how much effort that we need to put to express ourselves as the mother family. Oh, I forgot her name, the character that speaks Spanish, and she always talks about that in the TV show. And I really want to talk about this because I know it's also relatable, and it could help a lot of people build their confidence. Because as an English teacher, I know that a lot of my students used to struggle with the confidence. They didn't feel like they had the English enough to travel, and there's not enough English. If you can just express yourself in your own cute way with your accent and with your mistakes, I think that's enough, and so you're going to see a lot of mistakes that I'll do in a podcast, and I think that's part of my English personality, and I love it. So and honestly, I think the ultimate goal of this podcast is not only share and not only talk, not only for you to listen, but I really, really want to give value to you, to inspire you to go do your own things, even if they look and sound and feel so, so, so hard. Even if everybody else tells you that's not possible, even if you yourself think it's crazy to do it, that's my ultimate goal, is to show you that what is in your heart, it's worth it. Even if everybody else says that's not, or that's far from you. Honestly, I'm getting tears in my eyes by saying that, because I really, really want to inspire a lot of people to live life in their own ways, especially if their ways is traveling like me. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. I want to really, really build a community for us to support each other in this crazy lifestyle, crazy beautiful lifestyle, to be honest, that we have. So yeah, it actually feels crazy to be talking to a computer right now. Just imagining that people will listen to this. If you do listen so far, I would really appreciate it if you can share this podcast with many more people. My ultimate goal is to have the podcast as my main thing in life and my travel, to work with my travels and not have to do side jobs to make money. So I would really appreciate if you could share this to your friends, to people who are interested in travel. My Instagram will also be in the description below, so you can just follow me, talk to me. Please share your stories with me. I'm going to be more active from now on my Instagram, so you could also follow my trips and my travels and my challenges that I'm going to face. I'm full on authentic on my Instagram. My ultimate goal with this podcast and with my Instagram and with everything that I'm going to post online is to be authentic and transparent and show you all the good and the bad sides about traveling. A lot of people just want to filter and just show the filtered image of the travels, how amazing this place looks. And then behind the camera, you see many, many tourists. It's hot, it's expensive, I want to show you all, I think that's a big value of mine, authenticity. And I really want to put this in the podcast as well. So if you could share, if you could like, if you could subscribe on the YouTube, there is also a way on Spotify that you can rate the podcast. If you can give 5 stars, that would be really, really appreciated. And please follow along. I'm going to be talking about so many interesting and challenging topics as well. So it's going to be a nice ride. Thank you for listening. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead of you. Besitos!